Just like that, Nintendo has announced the long-awaited Switch 2, or Switch Pro. Fun fact, it's actually not called like that, but something else entirely. We made a video back in April on all the leaks and rumors on this new Switch, a video that has been viewed almost 1.5 million times. So there's definitely a lot of interest from you guys on this new Switch. And now that it's been officially unveiled, I gotta say, some of the leaks did actually happen, but a lot of the leaks that I was actually hoping to see did not happen at all. So here are the 7 changes that the Switch 2 brings over the Switch 1. So get your snacks ready and let's take a look. Okay, so the biggest change that this new Switch comes with is an updated display. This display is now larger at 7 inches, up from 6.2 on the original Switch. This was spot on in the leaks. Not only that, but the form factor seems to have remained almost identical, with the new Switch only being 2.54mm longer than the original one, which means that it is just as portable, only with a larger display. To make this possible, Nintendo reduced the bezels by almost half of what they used to be on the Switch 1, which I think makes the new model look so much more modern. Still, I am disappointed that we didn't get even thinner bezels, or at least a colored frame that would match the rest of the body, just like we've modeled it in our concept, as that would have looked so much better in my opinion, and it would have brought the design more in line with the Switch Lite, as opposed to basically using the exact same design from 2017 and just slapping some thinner bezels on that display. Okay, the second upgrade is an OLED panel. And this is actually the main upgrade. I mean, it's even in its name. Yes, the new Switch is not called the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro, but the Switch OLED model instead. OLED was long needed on the Switch, as the original LCD panel was honestly one of the worst quality panels that I have ever seen. With horrible viewing angles, very washed out colors, poor resolution, it was just bad, like really bad. Unfortunately, the resolution is still the same at 720p, so that hasn't changed. But at least we did get an OLED panel, which will fix all the viewing angle, contrast, and color issues that the original Switch had. This was also something that was leaked before, the fact that Nintendo would be using an OLED panel made by Samsung. So I'm super happy with this change myself, although I just think that we should have gotten this on the original Switch back in 2017, as even then, OLED was something that almost all smartphones had, so it wasn't anything new. Okay, now remember that horrible stand that the Switch 1 had? You know, the one that kept falling off and was super unstable? Well, we do get a new stand with this OLED Switch, which now covers the entire back portion, again, very similar to how we actually envisioned it in our concept. Not only that, but this stand is fully adjustable, which is great. It means that you can easily angle the Switch to pretty much any position that you want, as opposed to just one fixed position like the original Switch was. So again, I'm super happy with this new stand upgrade. But just like with the OLED upgrade, I also think that this is something that the original Switch should have had from the very start. The fourth upgrade is that we now get more storage, 64GB up from 32. Personally, I've actually installed a 128GB microSD card in my Switch the moment I got it, but I guess that it's still great to have more storage. If you just don't want to plan on buying a microSD card and if you don't have a lot of games, then I think 64GB is actually a pretty good sweet spot, especially with, you know, the amount of storage that Switch games actually take, which is not a lot actually. Oh, and if you're enjoying this video so far and if you want to see more Switch related content, then definitely consider subscribing as it's free. So thank you. Aside from this, we also get a brand new dock, which comes in white, and it gives you an Ethernet port, which again, I think that this should have been included with the Switch 1, as it was really the only gaming console that did not have the option for Ethernet at launch. Now, there's also a black variant of this dock, which pretty much looks identical to the current model. We also get improved speakers with enhanced dynamic range. That's great, but again, the original speakers were horrible, like really, really bad. Any smartphone pretty much just destroys the original Switch. So I think they should have been better from the very start. Okay, now I want to give a shout out to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Surfshark is a tool that secures your internet connection so that everything you do online stays private, while also allowing you to browse the web from a different country and access services such as Netflix US from outside the US. But Surfshark is also a different type of VPN. With most VPNs, once you activate them, your internet speeds would be severely impacted, but not with Surfshark. Surfshark can also block ads as well as malware with their clean web feature, and automatically alert you when your personal details such as emails, passwords, credit cards, and more have been leaked online. Another exclusive feature to Surfshark is Surfshark Search, which gives you real and organic web search results with 0 ads and 0 tracking. And at just £1.56 a month and 3 months for free by using the coupon code ZenOfTech, Surfshark is about half the price of what other VPNs cost. Check it out using the link below. And the final change is in terms of the price, which is now half. And now I'm just joking, the Switch is actually more expensive. It's $350 now, so it's $50 more than the original Switch, which I always thought was severely overpriced in the first place. Now it's even more so. Here's the thing, the only notable upgrade that this new Switch got is the OLED display. And that's pretty much it. We were hoping for better performance, which has actually been leaked before. The fact that Nintendo and Nvidia were working together on a brand new custom processor, but for some unknown reason, they just didn't include that processor in this Switch, as we still have the exact same Tegra X1 processor from 2015, 6 years ago, albeit the more efficient version of it released in 2019, which was based on a 16nm manufacturing process. And here's the thing, performance-wise, the Tegra X1, even the more efficient version of it, is actually weaker than an iPhone 6 from 2014. Yes, the new Switch, a 2021 gaming console, has a weaker processor than a phone released 7 years ago. Just let that sink in. The fact that we didn't get more performance means that the new Switch still cannot do 4K. So it's limited to 1080p output when connected to a TV. Even though we've had countless leaks saying that Nintendo has asked developers to optimize their games for 4K output, for some reason this didn't happen with his new Switch. In fact, in their launch trailer, Nintendo has not mentioned anything about performance or games running better on this new Switch. They even confirmed to The Verge the fact that the RAM and the CPU are identical to the previous Switch. So it seems like all games would just run the same, with 0 performance improvements, just an OLED display, which you can enjoy on the go, so that's cool, but the games will still run at 720p on the go, or 1080p when connected to the TV, which is extremely disappointing comparing this to, any of the other consoles. Another disappointment is the fact that the 2021 Switch still uses Bluetooth 4.1. This is a standard, by the way, that came out in 2013, 8 years ago, which means that the 2021 Switch would still not support any Bluetooth headphones, which I think is absolutely unacceptable in 2021. If you only have wireless headphones, you would literally have to buy a new pair just to use them with your Switch on the go. And I'm also disappointed that we didn't get a new design, like, an actual new design, or at least some new Joy-Cons, or at least some improved Joy-Cons. Even though the Switch has been hyped for so many years now, all we got was just an OLED display, which is something that the original Switch should have had in the first place. Oh yeah, and we also got a higher price. And here's the thing, at $350, you're already in the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S territory. Like, you could get an Xbox Series S for $300. That's $50 less than the new Switch. And sure, it won't be a portable console, but you will get a much better machine when connected to your TV, with 1440p games, up to 120 frames per second, with ray tracing, and of course, since you'll have $50 extra, you could spend that on Game Pass for a few months and have access to hundreds of true AAA titles. Or you could simply spend $50 more on top of the Switch, this new one, and you know, get a PS5, the digital version of the PS5 instead, a true next-gen console with 4K 120 output, even 8K 60 compared to 1080p on the new Switch. Here's the thing, I do have a Switch and I do have a 4K TV, and it just doesn't look good. The thing is, the fact that this Switch outputs in 1080p doesn't mean that the games actually run in 1080p. Like, a lot of the games will actually run at like 720p or 900p and then upscale that to 1080p. So it just doesn't look good on a 4K TV. And in 2021 to not have that option, I think is really bad. So is the new Switch bad, and should you just avoid buying it and simply get a PS5 or an Xbox instead? Well, not necessarily. You see, if we just go by the specs, then yeah, absolutely, the new Switch is probably worth around $50 at most in component costs compared to, you know, the next-gen consoles, which are said to be worth $500, $600 or even more than that. But the thing with the Switch is that it is the only console out of all of these that you can actually take with you on the go. So even though the at-home experience still does not compare with any of the other consoles, and it is really more in line with the PS3 from 2006, weaker than that actually, the fact that you can take it with you on the go is really what makes it truly special. Like, when I bought my Switch back in 2019, I bought it for traveling. Like, that was the only reason why I bought it, to have like a portable console that I can use when I'm, I don't know, flying or something. And I don't have internet, and I just need something to pass the time. I think that is what makes the Switch. And because Nintendo has zero competition in this space, they can do whatever they want, including putting subpar components from 6 years ago, as well as pricing their devices as high as the other next-gen consoles. I think the main issue here is that Sony and Microsoft, they actually undersell their consoles or underprice their consoles. They actually cost more to manufacture than the price that they sell them at, and then they make the money back from selling the games. But with Nintendo, the consoles are already overpriced, like severely, so they make the money from that, and then they also make the money from selling games, which in some cases are even more expensive than on, you know, the PlayStation and the Xbox. So that's something that Nintendo needs to fix. We need a Switch Pro, we need better hardware, because, you know, the prices are really, really high. So will there be a Switch Pro at some point? Well, very likely. But I just don't see that happening until, I don't know, at least 2023 or so, which pretty much means that if you're looking for a fixed home console, then I would say just avoid the Switch. But if you're looking for a portable console, the Switch is really your only choice. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of this new Switch? Do you think it's worth it? Or do you think that Nintendo is severely overpriced? So yeah, there you go. This was everything you needed to know about this new Switch alongside my thoughts. Definitely subscribe if you have enjoyed this video and you want to see more interesting tech videos like this one hopefully was. I'm Daniel, this has been Enough Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Enough Tech, signing out. Cheers.